Welcome to episode 5 of the Play It Down Sports Podcast. We're your hosts, Scott and Tom, and we've got a packed show this week. First up, we're going to recap the John Deere Classic, break down some stats, what went down, and how our picks hit or missed. Then it's time to look ahead. And not one, not two, but 3 tournaments this weekend. We've got the Genesis Scottish Open, a prime warm-up for the Open Championship, plus the ISCO Championship. And we'll throw a few thoughts on LIV Andalucía at Valderrama. I'm hoping I said that right. Quick shout out to a few subscribers for sending along some comments. Joe and Sean, thanks for watching. And a special shout out to Dave for gifting us this lovely hat from his company, Secure Consult. Thanks, and as always, don't forget to...
What a prize this thing is.
Thanks, and as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are also now on Spotify, so you can find us there as well. The links are in the description, so grab your beverage of choice, and let's get into this, shall we? Alrighty, so we're going to start off with the John Deere Classic. I think we figured it would be a birdie fest. It didn't quite hold up to that. It definitely favored accuracy over the bombers this tournament.
Right, which we weren't necessarily sure was going to be the case. I know my picks were predicated more on long distance and then nailing it close to the pins on the greens, but it felt like it was a little more of a grind. I mean, minus 18 is still a very good number, but I was thinking it was going to be in the 20s.
Right. I think we even mentioned that we thought the cut line would probably be like -7, -8.
Yeah.
And it actually was hovering at -4 for most of the second day and then ended up being -5.
Yeah.
Which, just going to throw out, -5 did make me very happy for Zach Johnson and Mark Hubbard making the cut.
It looked like you had that.
And I did.
And you did.
Here's a couple of stats that we also have from the top finishers. Again, Brian Campbell and Nick Dunlop were negative shots gained off the tee, but both actually did very well, and obviously Campbell took the tournament down, beating Grillo in the playoff. So if you look at the stats, it's kind of interesting because obviously driving distance really didn't play much of a factor at all.
No.
It really was about the scrambling.
I'm not sure Campbell hits the ball as far as you do, actually. He still won the tournament.
I might give him a little bit of a run. I don't think so, but maybe. But Kitayama, Max Homa had a good. He finished tied for 5th. He was also pretty good off with driving distance.
Yes.
But Kitayama was the only one that really was up here, and Kitayama did great with shots gained on his approach shots. But scrambling was clearly a factor. Accuracy was a factor, and obviously, as always, putting.
Yeah.
The best final rounds of the day were put in by Nick Dunlop and Carson Young. Carson Young also had the best green regulations in the top 5.
He's been sort of emerging through the, it feels like he's somebody you got to start taking a little seriously, more than Cam Young maybe.
Yeah. Now, did you happen to see the playoff?
No, I did not.
So
that we were on a flight back, so did not see it.
So I would love to have been a fly on Grillo's shoulder when he talked to his caddy about his 3rd shot. So Grillo hits it right off the tee.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, he hits it right off the tee. His 2nd shot goes long over the green.
Yep.
So he's in the rough, past the hole, but
he flew a wedge 20 yards over the green, and they have like 180 yards in the air.
Yep.
He must have a little adrenaline pumping there.
I mean, I don't know. And so he's over the green. It's an upslope to, the pin's probably 5 paces on the green, so he's short-sighted a little bit, or he's got a tough shot. And he goes for a flop shot rather than try to bump it and run it up the hill, and the flop shot doesn't even get on the green.
When I watched that on tape, I said, oh, this doesn't look that bad. I knew it wasn't going to be good based on what I'd read.
Right.
And he hit it, went up but it was clearly not a good shot. But, I mean, it looked good as it came off his club, but obviously he fluffed it.
Yeah, right? He was 21 yards from the pin, and he left a flop shot 20 feet short.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
And then he's 20 feet short of the hole of the pin, and what does he do? He putts it 18 feet.
Yeah.
How do you leave it short?
I don't know. I've never done that.
And David Lipsky, who really should have been in this playoff, he eagles 17, and he makes a bogey on 18,
yeah,
and then misses the playoff.
He'll come back this week.
Yeah,
you'll see it. We'll see it in some of my picks coming up.
Yeah, his tee shot went in the water. He drops. He lays up to 121 yards, and then just leaves him 15 feet, and he missed the putt.
Yeah.
Taps in for bogey. Max Homa was actually in contention as well, and his problem was he couldn't make a putt. He was even.
He seems
the
to
last
be
4
playing a
holes.
little bit better though, coming out. He was really in a slump for a while. I felt like he was like just not in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean overall, I think he would be very happy this tournament. Again, he's actually tied for 5th.
Yeah.
He's not on the chart because there were 6 people tied for 5, and I wanted people to be able to read the chart.
So you decided Kitayama was the guy you were going to show.
Kitayama was, well, he was technically tied for 4th. Let's check out some of our bets, shall we?
Sure.
All right. So these were our pre-tournament bets. We had also some in-play bets. Jake Knapp, solid tournament, just didn't get it done for you.
Yeah, here's the thing I just want to say about these, right? Like, people are going to look at, and I've seen this happen with other guys who are golf handicappers. If you decide you're going to do pre-flop bets in these tournaments, and you hit 1 out of every 8 to 10 weeks, you're probably going to be winning money. Now, if you put a lot of plays in, you're going to have to hit some, in order to come out. But what you're really looking at here is, yes, you'd like your account to grow. You want to hit some of these, and we've had a winner, 2 winners, right, with Reed and Bradley on this podcast, this early on podcast. But I look at, like, were the bets reasonable bets? Did these guys compete, right? And Jake Knapp and Gutterup were both 13 under, 5 strokes away from the lead. Gutterup went in just a few strokes behind going into Sunday. McCarthy was another one that finished 15 under, and he was like 11,
He was 11
in the tournament, right? So
He was 11.
Poston was a flop. He got, he was disappointing. I just may be done with him. Like, he's kind of screwed me a couple times with his poor play when I think he's going to, be a good fit for the tournament. But so he burned a bankroll a little bit and didn't even get out of the Friday afternoon. And then I think I mentioned that I reduced the bet size significantly because I felt like at 35 to 1, he was a player I just felt like I wanted to throw something out there because of his relative to this field. He was strong, but the course was a horrible fit for him, and he's not playing well. And he did not make the cut either. So
I made money on him on Thursday. I took him in matchup bets. And
I didn't think there was any way to make money on him the way he played.
I had him against Siwoo Kim, and I can't think of the yellow gentleman he was up against, but I had him trying to beat both of them. He lost to Siwoo, but he beat the yellow one.
Yeah.
So I had more on him for beating the other guy than Siwoo. So I probably made like $5 off him, but I'll take it. My bets.
Ben Griffin, my friend.
Your friend
I
Ben.
wish that I bet him to miss the cut like we were talking about.
He missed the
because he
cut.
finally showed what he really is.
I know. Thorpe Jorgensen did okay. I mean, he was kind of minus 11 after 3 rounds. He made the cut. He never really threatened, but he was up there.
Yeah.
Ended up being minus 14. I think that was T18. My big disappointment was actually Jason Day. Jason Day missed the cut.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a great second day, but sadly, I had him on the first day. Both then McCarthy and Gotterup were inside the top 20 after round 1. If Day would have shown up, I could have.
How great would it have been if you'd parlayed Griffin and Day to miss the cut in this thing?
Oh, my God.
Because they were the top 2 picks, and
They
neither
were.
one of them got to Saturday. Yeah.
And then I'm hoping people are listening to my picks because I threw out Zach Johnson and
That
Mark
was a
Hubbard
good one. I
to
wish
make the
I'd
cut.
followed you on that. I said I was going to and then didn't do it.
And it was plus money. You could have got some plus money. And I also had Zach Johnson to make the cut. I didn't do Mark Hubbard to make the cut. I just did Zach. And
So you doubled down on Zach.
I doubled down on Zach and actually made some decent change there. And then I did mention the BMW Open. I'll just throw out Wesley Bryan didn't make the cut. George missed it by a couple, by 3 strokes, I think. Wesley did make the cut. So I won that bet, but I did not get the parlay there.
That's what you
which
needed.
would have been
Yeah.
nice. And we had Jake Knapp and Lucas Glover, and sadly, Jake Knapp was not in the top 20 the first day. He ended up there, but he wasn't there the first day. He ended up, I think he was 20.
Actually, he finished 21st, so he didn't quite get there.
I think he was top 20 though after round 2, but
yes.
After round 1 he was not.
That's right. He fluttered around 20 the whole time.
Yeah. So those are our bets that I thought did overall. Overall, I thought they were pretty solid. We had some good advice. Hopefully, people are listening and making some.
We think they were at least.
They should be. So now we can move our attention to the Scottish Open.
Yeah.
So let's look at the course first. The 25 Genesis Scottish Open. It's being played at the Renaissance Club in North Berwick, Scotland. It's a nice link-style course that was opened in 2008, designed by Tom Doak. It's a par 70, 72-80, 7,280 yards. Hole 7 seems to be one of the tougher holes. It's going to play over 500 yards as a par 4. Shockingly, the weather,
I can't believe it,
should not be a factor.
I'm not sure I believe that.
Again, I know you were looking at the wind.
Well, I mean, I felt like, are we really going to get 4 days? I have seen maybe a little bit on Thursday. Are we going to get 4 days of nice 70-degree weather with no wind in that?
Again, now the forecast has the winds topping out on Sunday at 14 miles an hour, and the other days are around 10. And there is a chance for rain on Sunday, but even that is only 30 some odd percent, 38%, 39%. So it is kind of interesting that it may not be a factor.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and look at last year's winner was Robert McIntyre. It was a great moment for him, winning in his home country.
He was a whisker away from winning the U.S. Open this year.
He was.
Yeah.
It was a classy move by him, clapping too. I know we brought that up on the podcast already.
Yeah.
But we have McIntyre. He won it at minus 18. The course seems definitely to favor accuracy over the Bombers.
Yes. And Rory is the one bomber that seems to
exception there.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of shocking because his putting was horrible that week, and he still finished fourth.
Yeah, that is hard to believe, actually.
Yeah. Aaron Ray, he was up there, but again, he's a scrambler, and
Rory won it the year before McIntyre.
He did.
He's had good success.
Xander Schauffele, I think, was the year before
that.
Yes,
he was.
So that's a couple things about the Scottish Open. We will go into our picks later. Now we're going to turn our attention to the ISCO Championship.
This is a real tournament this week, Scooter. This one.
I mean,
this is a star-studded cast of golfers.
I know they have these alternate fields, and whenever I guess the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour kind of do these events, and obviously
there's still big tournaments for these guys, though. They win one of these tournaments, they get into majors and all sorts of. I mean,
but should they?
I don't know. I think if you win a tournament with 150 golfers in it, yeah, you deserve to get in.
Okay,
that's my opinion.
That's very fair. But if you win a tournament with there's 150 guys in it, and you know 3,
we know a little bit more than 3.
We do, but not many. I mean, they're really. I mean, Thorpe Jorgensen is the highest ranked golfer.
Yeah,
in this tournament.
That is startling, actually.
Yeah. And I never heard of him until about 4 weeks ago.
Right. Now you're betting him every week.
Now I'm betting him every week.
Yeah.
But let's look at last year's ISCO. Harry Hall won it on a chip-in on the 3rd playoff hole. The winning score was minus 22.
Yeah.
So kind of like the John Deere, this should be a birdie fest. From everything I've read and researched, this course isn't really going to favor neither one greatly. The Bombers have a good chance, and the people that are accurate have a good chance to win this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's a short enough course where I feel like the ball strikers may have that advantage. I mean, just a couple of quick stats on this when we're thinking about the betting side. In 2019, Jim Herman won this. I looked this up. 500 to 1. He was 500 to 1. In 2020, COVID, shut down, like it shut everything else down, shut this tournament down. 2021, Seamus Power won it at 20 to 1. Probably one of the lower odds, right? Mullinex won it at 150 to 1 in 2022. And last year, as you've got up here in 2024, Hall won it at 60 to 1. And Vincent Norman won it in 2023 at 25 to 1. But we've seen like some really long shots win, and we've also seen a couple of times where maybe some of the topper tier golfers in this tournament have won. So it's been kind of a mix of, it gives everyone a shot, it feels like. And it is, like you said, it goes to 20 under. So it's a bit of a birdie fest for second tier golfers relative to the Scottish Open guys, right? So
now the only two names I know on that list is Zach Blair and Harry Hall.
Yeah, Neesmith has been a name that I've...
or Rico Hui? Never even heard of that.
I don't know. I think his name has emerged. You think he's like 25 to 1 this week. So he's one of the...
Of course he is. But, but hey, it is... I know...
Maybe they could join your LIV tour, Yeah.
Hey, they're not good enough for LIV. Here's the weather. We didn't mention the weather for Louisville at Hurstbourne Country Club. Obviously designed by Keith Foster. It is a par 70. It is relatively short in PGA tournament stands at 7,056 yards. Overall, the weather should be fine. Couple
looks
of days
good, actually.
Yeah.
80s this time of year is perfect.
Yep, it's going to be mid-80s, high 80s, and you have humidity should be right around 70. And if I
wonder if they have a bet on like the over/under, because with that weather and these golfers, I might go over 20. If there was a under 22, I might go over.
I'd go over.
Yeah,
I would too. Okay, let's talk LIV.
Yeah.
This is gonna be quick. So this is gonna be quick on LIV.
Pretty good tournament though.
It is. It's LIV Andalucía at Valderrama. Last year, it was a pretty exciting tournament. Would you like to tell the people what happened?
Yeah. So I was looking this up beforehand. Sergio Garcia won it last year, and Lahari, who had a chance to win that tournament. I think it might have been his first win. It would have been his first win.
He still has not won on LIV.
Right. And he stepped up, and I could not believe it, but it looked like, I don't know, one of my putts from 2 feet. I mean, he had a 2-foot putt. It was like this. He stood over it. It looked like it was, an easy putt. It was a tap in. It was foregone conclusion. He was going to knock that thing in. And you listen to the announcer, and it's like, it was all nerves. And he lips out the 2-footer. It didn't look like there was much to the putt. It didn't look like there was any reason to miss it. And he just completely yanked the putt, and it rimmed out.
It rimmed out. Now,
unbelievable.
It reminded
and then Sergio goes on and wins the tournament
in the playoff. Now, it reminded me of Rory at Pinehurst number 2.
But Rory's putt was much longer than that one.
I know, it was much longer.
Yeah,
but
it was longer though. It
might have been 3 feet instead of 2.
And then there was the Dustin Johnson putt from three putting from 4 feet.
From 4 feet.
But that one was just startling to see, because it wasn't like some of these guys occasionally will not pay attention to a short putt and they'll step up to tap it in and they'll miss it.
I'll tap.
But he was putting that to win the tournament from no longer than it. There's no way that was longer than 2 feet.
I will post the link in the description for the YouTube video for the clip. And yeah, I mean, it does not
classic.
look. It does.
You
not
wouldn't
look.
want to lose a member guest on a 2-foot putt like that, let alone a tournament of that magnitude.
Overall, I think Valderrama plays very hard. It's going to favor, I think, really more accuracy than Bombers. I do like one of the Spaniards to win it. We'll go over that when we do all our live bets. The tournament last year, I remember watching it. It was fun to watch. It was great seeing.
It's narrow
win.
too, right? So you've got to be pretty accurate on this course, right? That's going to be what when we go over our bets. We'll probably talk about that. But that's That's one
you
thing
do.
you don't want to be errant on this course,
Yeah.
or you can have tree problems. I think.
And I promise I'm not going to bring up the team format or anything else.
Thank God for the
We will,
the viewers, too.
but I will be rooting for
the
the
viewers.
Crushers.
Thank you for that.
I will be rooting for the Crushers, as always, because go Crushers. Okay, so I think the next section we have are our live bets. Should we get into it?
Sure.
Let's
Yeah.
get into some live bets. So I'm going to throw it up on the screen here.
Yeah.
There's our bet slips that we're looking for. Mine is on the left. Tom's
This looks
is
like
on
one
the
of your
right.
pari-mutual tickets, Scooter.
It really does, doesn't it? There's a lot of stuff going on here. So we'll start with the Scottish Open. I'll go first. So I have to make the cut. I'm playing a parlay to make the cut again. I'm going to do it again. I have M, Harmon, and Cantor. I don't know if I'll parlay all three. I know I'm going to do two. M's made the cut one time in the last 3 years, and that was last year. He was tied for fourth.
You know, he didn't make the cut last week,
I know.
and he burned my opportunity to even have a chance. You're going to put him in this tournament?
I might.
Wow. All right. Well, maybe you'll get some juice on the odds, because I'm not touching that guy.
I don't know.
He's
And I do like
he's
Harmon.
off my list.
So I like Harmon and Cantor here more than M, but I might do all three just to try to get some extra juice. But Harmon's made the cut the last 2 years at the Scottish Open, and Cantor has only made the cut in 2021. So he's more of a flyer bet, but he played well last week. So I'm thinking about taking a flyer on him. I have a top 20 parlay with Fleetwood, Hovland, and Burns. Fleetwood's made the cut the last 5 years with 3 top 20s and tied for 26. Hovland's made the cut the last 2 years. His best finish, though, is a top 25.
Yeah.
Is a T25, tied 25. And then we have Sam Burns. He didn't play in it last year, but the previous 3 years he's made the cut 2 out of 3, and they were both top 20s.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the one thing I don't like about that is Burns. I feel like there could be some burnout here because of his recent, I mean, he's had multiple tournaments where he's been there. We all know about the U.S. Open. I actually considered betting him at 3-1 to miss the cut, as opposed to top 20. I didn't do it. I'm not going to put it in because he is sort of been very strong recently, but I feel like with the Open coming up and some of the stuff he's carrying across from the past here in the past several weeks, I strongly considered
new country, new outlook.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not talking you out of it, but I can tell you right now that the one of those three that I get concerned about in that top 20 is Burns. Now, if you're going to parlay them, you're not going to lay a lot to try to win good money,
correct.
Right? So,
correct.
I just hate to have Burns burn your bankroll, but it's all right.
And then I have an interesting missed cut. So I have J.J. Spawn to miss the cut.
And a former champ.
Yep. And Aaron Ray.
Ray's a former champ at this thing, isn't he?
No.
I think he is.
2019?
Yeah, I think he is. You might want to look that up.
I'll look that up in a second. But he has missed the cut 2 of the last 3 years.
Okay. All right.
He was good again. If you look at what happened in 2024, he's up there.
I mean, that's just maybe we'll double check that, but I feel like he had a success in this tournament. But if he's missed it 2 out of 3 years, that's a good parlay.
And then J.J. Spawn, I'm just taking a flyer on him. I mean, he was tied 59th in 2022, and that was the last time he was in the tournament. So,
what kind of odds are you kind of getting on that? Do you know?
I don't.
You just got okay.
I don't.
And then you've got.
Because I'm looking at players. I can't lie. I wasn't looking at odds.
No, you're just betting who you think, and you got Fleetwood to win it.
I do.
Okay.
So.
All right, let me go through my plays here while you're looking that up, and so I've got a few guys here that I really like. Right, Adam Scott. I think everybody knows that he can be dangerous in these types of tournaments. He's familiar with this type of course. I got him at 55-1. You're going to want to look around on the various accounts. Corey Connors, I got at 50-1. I have a little bit of a Corey Connor problem in that I love to bet this guy. I think his ball striking is so good. Sometimes his putting can let him down, but he's been putting at least average recently. And he's accurate off the tee. And I think those are the things that help you in a tournament like, with this layout. I'm with you on Fleetwood. I wish the odds were a little bit better than, I think I got him at 22-1. And Morikawa is one of those guys, his ball striking has been superb. His putting on these greens could get him in trouble. They're big greens, and I think that there's a chance that, the 3 putting could get him in trouble. So I'm going to kind of be tempered on him for, the last 4 days on this. And then for the missed cut, I gotta tell you, Scooter, I just have to bet Scheffler to miss the cut. At 6-1, to be able to put a play on him when his odds to win the tournament are lower than his odds to miss the cut, it just doesn't connect with me. You get 3.5-1 for him to win the tournament, and 6-1 for him to miss the cut. And I think with all these golfers, especially if the conditions are good, where they can all kind of maybe attack, like, you could be 15-20 under on these if the weather's good this week. And I just feel like, give me 6-1. If he makes the cut, great. But there's no way you can tell me that for him to win the tournament, the odds should be lower than for him to miss the cut. So, anyway,
that's a flyer bet.
It's a flyer bet, but it's 6-1. So, And then I'm going to probably throw these same guys that I have with Morikawa and Fleetwood. I might substitute Connors instead of Morikawa based on the putting. But first round leader, I'm probably sticking with Morikawa because he has a hot day. The putter's working. He gets out to a good start. Same thing with Fleetwood. And then for the top 10 finish, I want to go with Adam Scott. I think Adam Scott he's giving me 4.5-1 odds, I think is what I got on that. So again, look around if you like that pick. He's been hanging around in various tournaments this year, and I think this tournament sticks out as one that he should be solid in. To me, if I can hit that bet, it's going to pay for a lot of these wins if they don't come through. Right. So
obviously him and Burns at the U.S. Open pooped the bed on Sunday, but they were both there.
Yes, and the other thing here is the Fleetwood, the Adam Scotts are very popular over there. And they're going to have good support, and I've got them on my card both to win. I could throw Scott on round 1 leader. I'd be more likely to do an in-play for him to be like a round 2 or 3 leader, because that seems to be where he kind of comes out.
I will be posting these bets on our Instagram and on our X pages, so please do follow us on both Instagram and X, and you will see these as well. And excellent. I'll be posting my matchup bets. I'll be looking a little deeper into those and seeing who I like tomorrow.
Did you find whether Ray won this thing or not?
He did not.
Okay.
2024 was tied fourth. That's his best finish.
Okay.
He's won twice. Once on the DP World Tour. I'm sorry, 2 times on the DP World Tour and only 1 time on the PGA Tour, and that was the Wyndham Championship.
Okay.
So now we have the ISCO Championship.
Yeah.
So I'm going kind of chalk here.
Yeah.
I admit it. I'm going Thorpe Johnson to win. I'm also going to take a flyer on my guy, Mark Hubbard.
Yep.
But I kind of like my top 20. I don't know if I'm going to parlay this. I probably will not. I may just do straight up bets. But I like my Bo Hosler, Cam Champ, and Carson Young. And I actually like Carson Young. I think he's on a pretty good upswing.
You might be. I'm going to write this down. You might be convincing me to throw something on Carson Young because I've been sort of tracking that guy. He has been sort of impressive. I'm going to check out his odds.
And again, this is an alternate field event. He's doing well in regular events, obviously, and I do think he could.
Did well last week.
He did very well last week. I think he could do well this week, and I definitely like him top 20, and I may end up throwing some pizza money on him to win it.
Yeah.
But I don't have much going on with the ISCO. I'll probably do some matchup bets. Tomorrow when I see the tee times and who the group pairings all are. But that's what I got right now.
Yeah, so going over my plays, I spent a little bit of time on this, and I feel like this course is it's short, and it sort of favors some of the shot makers, right? And so one of the things that I was trying to look at when I when I handicapped this was, without going too deep into this, like what are the guys, and again, I talked about this earlier when I read off the last 5 or 6 champions. The ones that seem to do well on this are the ones that are sometimes longer shots, right? So I was trying to go, rather than go with more of the favorites like you were, I wanted to pick guys that were going to give me a little bit longer shot. And that is why I went with Jackson Suber and David Lipsky, right? I got those guys at 70-1 and 90-1. Lipsky played very well last week, could have easily gotten into the playoff, right? Suber has had some really strong finishes in 3 or 4 tournaments. He finished well in the Rocket Classic. He finished well at RBC Canadian. He finished well at the Sony. So basically for him at 70-1, I just couldn't resist throwing something on him and something on Lipsky. Now the other 2 guys on the chart here are a little bit, they're out there at 150 and 250 to 1, right? Capping the third and Taryn. And what I did there was I just looked across the field and said, who are the guys that kind of have good ball striking on tight, and this course would fit them. And those were the long bombs. That'd be like the Herman bet, right? From 2019. And so those are guys that are definitely flyers. You don't want to bet a full unit on them, right? If your unit for golf betting is, $20 to win, you want to reduce it when you got these long shots, but you want to get paid if they happen to pull it off, right? If you really want to go crazy, look at what they are for top 20 or top 10, and maybe you instead of betting them to win the tournament at 250 to 1, you can get them at 10 to 1 to finish in the top 10. But those are 2 guys that I just felt like I wanted to take a flyer on, and they fit this course.
I like your Lipsky pick. I was looking at him as well. I don't know if he's going to have a little bit of a hangover.
I think I found him at 100 to 1, actually.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a hangover event.
He might, because he could have made it. You know what? 100 to 1, I just couldn't resist.
I get that.
Something on him. Yeah.
And then the final tournament, because unbelievably there are 3, is LIV Valderrama. So I'm taking a Spaniard to take it down. So I'm throwing money on Garcia. I know Rahm isn't going to pay much. He's I think 5 to 1 or something like that. And then I like Puig. Puig was in the BMW. He was competing for the lead for taking that tournament down last week. I like his game. He was a little bit banged up earlier this year on LIV, and he's healthy and swinging the ball great. And then I have a top 10 that I like. I like Muniz again in the top 10. Hatton, is a little up and down on LIV, but I have him. I think he's going to do well at Valderrama, so I have him in the top 10. He does have 3 top 10s on tour this year. Muniz has 4 top 10s this year. Last 2 tournaments, he's been tied 15th and tied 16th. And then I'm throwing a flyer on Tom McKibben. Seeing him back in the UK, I think he's going to do well there. He's got 3 top 10s anyway. He was tied for 5th at LIV Dallas.
Munoz had some good showings last year, I feel like.
Munoz really he won a tournament last year. He's actually playing great. I was a little disappointed with how he played in Dallas. I thought he would show up for me there. That was one of his home courses, but he did not.
He didn't deliver.
And neither did Carlos Ortiz, but he might have had a little bit of a hangover
from the U.S. Open.
From the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
And I might take a flyer on Cam Smith. I haven't decided yet. I might put him in top 5 or even to win it. I just like Cam Smith for this tournament, for this course.
Yeah. I mean, I viewed this as it's a bit, again of a course where if you're striking the ball well, the trees are tight, you want to be you want to be fairly accurate with your driver here. And when I looked at Hatton, who I picked last week, the last LIV tour, 2 weeks ago, the Dallas tour, he was right there with Reed, right, 1 stroke off at the end, and he has just continued to be he was 3rd in this tournament last year. He was 4th in the Open. He was 5th in LIV Dallas, or tied for 5th, but he was right in that mix.
Yep.
And I just felt like I'm just going to ride the guy. I'm getting almost 10 to 1. I think I got him at 8.5 to 1 on DraftKings. You can't get him on every account, the LIV Tour. You got to really, I think, bet.
Bet365.
Does
Shout
that
out to
happen
them.
too?
They have a ton of LIV bets. They do have a lot of ton.
I don't
of
think
bets.
FanDuel or MGM
I
have gotten
haven't
up
seen
to
it on FanDuel.
Right.
I haven't checked MGM.
But DraftKings definitely has it. That's where I put it. Hatton was 8.5 to 1, and then Abraham Answer at basically 35 to 1. Great ball striker. Doesn't hit the ball far. Don't need to hit a ball super far on this course. You've got to be accurate and be a good ball striker. He fits a bill there. So I also threw him in for a top 5 bet.
Nice. Okay.
So backing up your LIV Tour here, Scooter.
I like that. Those are our bets. Enjoy them. Take them with some confidence. I think hopefully you guys can make money. If anyone does make a bet or makes a play, please put it in our comments. We'll
would love to see what people are betting.
We would love to see that. We would love to know what you guys are thinking.
And
so
if
if you do, please
our
send
bets,
it.
great. If they're not copying them, great. If they want to mock them, go ahead and mock them.
Yeah.
We'll mock yours too. That's fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yes, please, if you do make a bet, throw them in the comments. Let us know what you got. Now, Tom, I would like to introduce a little new segment here.
Okay.
It's going to be kind of story time. Give the people a little story, a little insight into what we do on the golf course here. So, let's. So, Tom and I are members of a couple of clubs, and we play a lot of matches and a lot of weekend golf, like everyone else.
Yep.
And we tend to put a little cheese on these tournaments and these matches and these games.
Little pizza money.
Yep. And we've run into many situations where it's I'll get you next time, or I'll buy your beer in the house. What do we do?
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites, right? So you set up a little bit of a bet on, let's call it Saturday morning. You go out. We have all sorts of different games we play. There's, maybe it's a game of sixes, right? You're in a group of 4. You go out. You alternate. You rotate. Partners. So I play with everybody for 6 holes. You're betting, $5-10 for each of those matches, and maybe you throw some other little side stuff on top of it, and you get to the end of the round, right? And you've had a good day. You've hit the partners at the right point, and at the end of the day you're owed $12 or $13,
right?
Whatever.
Again, right.
Like
typically, we're not talking
about a lot.
We're not playing for a lot,
then,
typically.
And so then you'll have somebody who finds their way to the parking lot, and somehow before the accounting is done to make sure what they owe, they're on their way out the door, and they haven't paid it off, and you're like, oh, now am I going to chase this guy down for $13? I remember at Sunset Valley, I played one time. One of our members, I had to go up to his car and knocked on his door, and I said, I think you owe $7.
I don't know if it was 7. It might have been 3.
$7, but I mean,
it's not the principle of what the amount is.
And walking away without making that payment is just not, in my mind, it's not acceptable. I get annoyed. And I don't like it when you say, I'll catch you for a beer. No, we're going to settle up the golf bets.
Right, we're having a beer either way.
And then we'll go deal with the beer. If the winner wants to buy the beer, great. If the loser wants to buy the beer, great. But the betting is an independent entity, and people love to just sort of sweep it under the rug and pretend the bet didn't occur when a lot of times when they owe money. And that is, I don't know. Now, I will say it doesn't happen too much at one of the courses we're at, right? We've gotten pretty serious about that exchange.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case.
Again, that's 5 years of training them to pay up.
If you guys do that stuff, please settle your bets.
Settle your bets.
Here's another, just a final thought on this. So I was playing in a recent match, right? And we were... my partner decided that it would be a good idea in a match play to also try to get a side bet. And he coerced the other team into like a $10 bet, all right?
If you gotta coerce the team, maybe don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
just saying.
coerced was like, hey, you want to do 20, and then they settled for 10, right? It was kind of like, yeah, well.
Okay, so they were
So we grind our way through. We win the $10, right? We win the match. We win the $10, right? And then we get to the 18th hole. The 18th hole does not matter, right?
Yeah,
we won the match. We won the $10.
You got the money.
And he says, "You guys want to double or nothing on this hole?" And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute." And there's like, "Up, too late. Your partner already offered."
I know
And then me and my partner play the hole like crap, and we walk on. We win the match, which is what matters still. And now we don't get the $10. And I was like, well, did that just happen?
He just wanted to play for $20.
17 holes to win $10, and we just stood away
on one hole.
On one hole. So anyway, I'm still trying to get over that, but anyway.
You will someday.
I don't know.
Yeah, you still alive in the tournament?
We are.
Oh, well, you got a second chance.
I'll have to control the betting on that one.
You will.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is our show, podcast number 5 in the books. Next week, we will be recapping, obviously, all these tournaments.
Yeah.
And we will be previewing the Open, also known as the British Open.
I thought we'd be previewing the Tabor Member Gas. No.
We should.
Yeah.
We should preview the big Tabor Member Gas with our parimutuel betting and our cow cutters.
That's got to be bigger.
We may have a couple
that's
stories
bigger than the Open, isn't it?
It's at least on the same level.
Yeah. No doubt.
But we'll throw some stuff out there as well. But please, again, like, comment, and subscribe. Send in any of your predictions, any of your bets. Please send them in, post them, email them. However you guys want to get it to us, get it to us. Other than that, have a wonderful weekend, and good luck.